Hello everybody, Skippy Gamer here to tell you to exit this video. Okay, sorry, that was unexpected. But I am serious. If you are a person who has not played and who has not finished this game, then you must not see this video, no matter if I say any ending spoilers or not. And I say this because the best way to have fun with this game is to play it blindly. And I do mean blindly, or as blind as you can, whichever. So if you want to finish the game before you see this video, then I recommend going on Steam.com, any computer, whether it be on PC or Mac, and play it. However, if you want to see my score of the game before you exit this video early, you should see the description below for my official score. In case you are some person who says something like, I am not going to play this game until I see Skippy Gamer's score on it. So yeah. So click on it if you're curious. You still here? Okay then. I truly hope you finish the best ending, aka pacifist ending, before you came here. Because, more or less, I will not hold back on spoilers. Okay, somewhat, but I will not hold back on anything I mention. So, if you're ready, then I guess we'll begin. Here we go! Hello everybody, Skippy Gamer here. Welcome to my video review of Undertale. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did a 5 days of gameplay episode on this game. I went through the introduction of the game, and it was good. And in the end of the video review of this game, I said I was going to play it all the way through by myself and come back and do another review on it. During the next 2, 3, or more weeks, I have been playing the game all the way through, as I said I would. And I finished both the normal ending and the best ending, or what's commonly known online as the natural ending and the pacifist ending. Although I never tried the genocide ending, but I'll get into that later. So, I finished those two endings, and do I think it was the best game I have ever experienced in a long time? Or is it just a ripoff of Earthbound? Then I guess we should climb the mysterious mountain, trip into it, and find out. If the fall doesn't kill us first. Story. I did explain the story in my previous review, but during my playthrough alone after that, I did something different at the beginning, and I like to bring that up too, so I'll be explaining the story again. A long time ago, humans and monsters lived together in peace and harmony. Until one day, the humans ended up declaring war on the monsters. The reason why the war started does get explained later. At the end of the war, the humans won, and the monsters were forced to go into a deep cave inside a mountain, known as Mount Ebot, forever. Then, years later, in the year 2001X, a nameless boy goes to the mountain, then accidentally trips into the mountain. When you create a new save, you wake up in the cave, on a bed of flowers. After going into the next room, you are greeted by a flower named Flowey, and he ends up teaching you how to play the game. Which was a trick to kill you. And after you fall for it, he mentions that in this world, it's kill or be killed, and delivers a fatal blow on our main character. But at the very last second, a goat-like monster comes and saves us. Yeah, it's a goat. I used to think it was a Mimiga from Cave Story, or a lookalike like one, or a dog-like creature, believe it or not, but no, she's actually a goat. The creature is named Toriel, and she guides you through the underground. And she also teaches us how to really play the game. After a while, she ends up telling our main character to stay in a safe part of the ruins while she prepares something where she lives. Although, despite her telling us to stay, we actually follow her. After some exploring, we end up at Toriel's house, and we find out that she was preparing a surprise for our main character coming here by baking us a pie and giving us our own room. I know, it is. And when I first played this game, she immediately became one of my favorite characters in gaming. I like her very, very much. She's like a mother to our main character. She even makes some of the most touching parts in the beginning. I really like her. I really do. Although, she sometimes does have terrifying looks that, honestly, don't scare me. Although, I did look at one face on YouTube that she makes in the genocide path of the game, which did kind of scare me. But I will talk about that in the genocide path. So yeah, not only does she scare monsters, but she actually scares me at times. Oh boy. Why was she my favorite character again? After a while, our main character asks Toriel how to get out of the cave, which is called the Underground, by the way. But she denies telling us, just to keep us here to live with her. After a while, she ends up going into the basement. And as we follow her, she then tells us that through this hallway is the way out of the ruins, and to the rest of the underground. Although, she then tells us that throughout the years she's been here, she met other humans, no different than us, but ended up leaving the ruins to try to get out of the underground, but ended up being killed by a monster known as Asgore. I know, it is. She doesn't want us to be killed also, so she decides to blow up the exit so that no one can get in, and that we can never get out. After we follow her, she then decides to test our strength to see if we have what it takes to survive the underground. So, we fight her. Now, in my first review of this game, I killed her. However, in order to get the best ending in the game, aka the pacifist ending, you have to spare her. Not flee, but spare her. I mentioned in my previous review on what happens if you killed her in the story. Now, let me tell you what happens when you save her. Okay, here we go. As she fights us, we get very close to death, but she resists, indicating that she still cares for the boy. But despite that, the boy did not want to fight her, nor did he want her to blow up the exit either. So, he kept on sparing her. Although it did seem helpless, as she kept telling the boy to either fight or leave and let her seal the exit. But despite those warnings, he kept on sparing her. As time went on, she then stops on attacking us, calmly convincing us to stay with her. But after a while, she then gives up, stating that he should head home, that it would probably be best if he didn't live with her in the ruins for the rest of his life. As she says goodbye to us, she tells us that if we leave the ruins, we must promise that we will not come back, and hopes that we will understand one day. After that, she gives us one last hug and says goodbye, then leaves us. Yep, she does. She does. Then here, we meet Flowey again. But here, he tells us two different things about our choices, depending if we saved her on our first run, or if we killed her on our first run, like I did, and resetted the game so that we can save her. I'm not going to mention what he says in either of those choices, but just note that he will not fight you. And what he says in one or both of those choices will be an insult to you, and will make you hate this flower even more. I will touch on the subject on resetting the game makes Flowey remember you later in the gameplay. And probably here also. After Flowey leaves, we go to the gate. And we exit the ruins. Then, the title comes on. I will stop explaining the story there. The story is so awesome! I'm serious. This is one of the best game stories I have ever played. I enjoyed it so much! Okay, maybe I enjoyed it so much because I never looked up any YouTube videos on it, or tried not to. No, I never did look up spoilers on purpose. Although stuff I was spoiled on were because they were in a video that just happened to mention Undertale when I least suspected it, and or because I tried looking at YouTube videos for details on how to get the pacifist ending after I've beaten the natural ending, and some other reasons. So, those are my excuses on some spoilers. But throughout the game, it made me think of those kinds of stories where a child is in a new land full of strange people that interact with the main character in different ways. Stories like Alice in Wonderland, never seen the movie, but I know some of the story, or the film Never Ending Story, and some other ones that I'm not really thinking of right now. There were many parts like this that remind me of movies like that, but also made me feel immersed in the game at the same time, like the story. Like, for one, there is a person called Dr. Alphys, where he made a entertainment robot that has a need to kill humans, and this robot puts you through many mini-games, and is done in ways that makes you feel like you're actually doing it, like you're actually in this world, actually. And sometimes Dr. Alphys will try to get you out of a jam if you either fail or succeed in any of his mini-games. And it's done very beautifully. Another part where during Dr. Alphys is trying to guide you out of the underground, you keep getting blog updates from him constantly, although he doesn't know you're reading them.
which can get pretty annoying because they pop out almost like how much they keep popping out. As much as I hate on how auto spawns pop out in other RPG games, so it can get pretty annoying, but they are funny to read, you gotta admit. There were other parts like this with different people that I really did enjoy, but one other part, which is one of my favorite parts, is in a boss fight against a spider bounty hunter. Now, I should get something out of the way, which should be news to you all watching my videos for the first time. I am scared to death of spiders. Okay, I can deal with some spiders in some games, but I hate spiders. Even the thought of them, oh my gosh. Which begs the question on why I like the Spider-Man movies so much. Anyways, when I first came to this part, I was kind of scared on what I may see, as you can imagine. But during the boss fight, I wasn't that scared at all. Better yet, I had a fun time with this boss. I guess one of the main things about it is the music. During the boss fight, the game does say certain actions that she is doing while you're making your turn in the battle. And some of the things it says she is doing is... the spiders clap to the song. Or the main spider girl synchronizes her dance. All to the song that is playing right now. Which, in my head, I did picture her dancing to the song. Which, this whole thing reminded me of villain songs like in some Disney movies and such, where the villain is dancing and singing to the song that he or she may be playing. Which was pretty awesome! I liked that boss fight. And I wasn't creeped out by it at all. Like, at all! Okay, yes, there were one or two things that did creep me out. But other than that, I love that boss fight. As you go through the game and meet some of the characters, you will get to know their personalities, their struggles in the underground, and more. Okay, you won't get to know every single monster in the game, but for some of the ones that you do get to know, are cool. Sometimes can make you feel bad for them at times, laugh at their personalities, etc. In the pacifist route, you have to get to know some of the characters, like Papyrus, Undyne, and, one of my personal favorites, Dr. Alphys. Playing this game as blindly as I could in my natural run was amazing. I loved it. Even if I had looked up some walkthroughs for the pacifist ending, I was still surprised on stuff, and I still enjoyed it. I loved it. Also, I love the humor in this game. It's so funny. Here's some samples of it.
There's so much more than that, but you get the idea. Humor beyond anything.
Also, I did feel immersed in this game's world also. Not fully, but enough to enjoy it. Which is a kind of experience I think Toby Fox, the creator of this game, wanted us to feel in this game. Which is handled really, really well, as I got done explaining. In all the other paths, you will get to know every monster, and all of them aren't evil. In the pacifist or natural route, you will get to know every monster well, and you must not kill any of the monsters. It's important. However, if you choose the all-famous genocide route, that means you have to kill every single solitary monster, good or bad, even if you like them for whatever reason. I know! I never tried the genocide run, nor am I going to try it anytime soon. And personally, I suggest the pacifist route before you try the genocide route. But that's my and some other people's opinion. I did look up some videos on the genocide route, especially the point where you kill Toriel, because if you choose the genocide route, you do see Toriel's quote-unquote dark side. Which, if you do, makes her look and feel like an actual monster. Heck, she even makes a scary face when she dies. There are a lot of different events that are completely different from the natural and pacifist route, if you choose the genocide route. Although, from what I saw on YouTube, you will begin to notice that your character has become a cold-blooded killer. Or, you can think of it as your character is becoming the actual villain. And I did notice that some questions that were probably asked in the natural or pacifist route are somewhat answered in the genocide route also. Like I said, I personally recommend taking this route after you've beaten the pacifist route. But then again, that's completely up to you. With all of this in mind, the story is the most incredible story I have ever, and I do mean ever, experienced. I liked it so much that I wouldn't mind starting over the pacifist route again, and again, and again, and again, and again. With everything I said and more, I decided to give story 5 stars. And that's it for part 1. Sorry, guys. Throughout this entire review, I think I went too in-depth in a lot of the stuff in the game. I really gotta stop doing that. I guess pretty much the only thing I really didn't go too in-depth into was the music, which I never really go in-depth into that for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, so due to how long the video is gonna be, how I measure the script and stuff, I think I may split this into 2 or 3 parts, I believe so. So expect part 2 to be of music and graphics, if nothing else changes at the last second, and part 3 to be of gameplay, because that's what I fully decided. Hopefully I don't change by the last second, but, you know. So, yeah, so click this annotation right here to go to part 2, and yeah, I guess that'll be about it. So thank you so much for watching part 1, everybody. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and no swearing in the comments. Tell friends and family about this channel, and I will see you guys next time. Better yet, I'll see you in the next part. Okay, see you there, everybody.